This is Dustin Pickering. He will now be reading from Harbinger Asylum, Spring 2015.
This is Negatively Skewed by Seth Batiste. Not once, but thrice, reason turned against me, hitting my shin, my brow, my elbow, and then, to my surprise, my gut. And grunting, I grunt. I grunt, knowing there are no absolutes in life, only outliers. Name the day of reason, when a man without reason can reason the senseless into reason. Everything that is broken remains thus because of the reasonless man, stopping where there is no problem, proceeding far past progress. He communicates better with the toddler than with adults. In high school, the clouds did not know his name. He is a negatively skewed minimalist at best, waiting his turn to lack. The man without reason is a folly, performing his act for anyone who would watch or listen. His life is what he tries to make meaning of, constantly changing the rules until there are none left. His thoughts are the history of lions, though plural are alone. Thoughts that lack maturity, brain cells warped by the external pressures of mere thinking. As a student of a life, this man struggles. One questions his happiness. He wants me to be second class and think I am gold. I gruntingly rid my spirit of the lunacy of how he interacts with the world. He calls himself reason. I give him a grade of F, fathoming a world without fallen. Leaved. He is reason provoked, uneven, increases opposite. In an oven his yeast remains. I can feel the lukewarm presence. From the forest of unity I dismiss him, not once, but thrice. He turned against my hand. Sadly, he is clueless to facts, uneducated in all of his ways. I am the unknown, the forgotten. Days, weeks, months go by, and I am not even a whisper. Something I don't think I have ever tried to understand. I am the butterfly that just passed. The sound of the cricket in the distance is my wink, my wave. To you I speak. I am the blowing wind in the night, and the sunrise you fail to see. I am me. Again I say, name the day when a man without reason can reason. He graduates not, is never timely, and behaves the part of unreason. He is committed to his partial thoughts. I question his being. I question. Reason is provoked by his every deed. I am the unknown, forgotten day, the memory faded, the caterpillar that crossed your path quietly. The other day, I heard you wonder about the history of lions again. You did so with no real purpose. As the lowly caterpillar, I question your being. But you never even knew I existed. That's Negatively Skewed by Seth Batiste.
So, Dustin, please tell us a little bit about the interior art and the cover designer and how we got in contact with this wonderful person.
As far as the interior art, we have Kristen LaFollette, who I was published alongside in the Lost Coast Review. It's a journal out of California. Wonderful collage in the spirit of Dada, and she has some, very interesting juxtapositions. Also, there are the paintings of expressionist art by Alan B. Forrest. He probably found me through Blottature. I've seen his art on Blottature, as well as he has a lot of stuff he's inspired by Van Gogh. Just to give an example, this right here, this is the Big Sur ink and watercolor, and he's got multitudes of beautiful, strange art, that very colorful art. As far as the cover art, we came in contact at the art crawl here back in downtown Houston, with a woman who goes by the name Vera Icon. She's a Syrian born in the United Arab Emirates, and she does anime-inspired art with sort of the Lilith of the Bible themes. And this is called Mother the First Other. This is the cover. designed by Glenn Monroe Irby out of Clute. And this is the spring 2015 edition of Harbinger, and it's wonderful. Here's the back cover. It's taken from a part of the front cover, and but anyway, it's art. Vera Icon. She's also a model and very wonderfully beautiful woman, and very talented. You know, she has a very good set of art. You know, we were able to see some of that when she had her showcase at the art crawl downtown.
Tell us about the certain interview in this issue, and how you came across this person.
Troy Camplin is he's a PhD in the humanities. He also has I believe he has at least 3 degrees, and I believe he's got a BA in English or something, and a PhD in the humanities, as well as some background in molecular science. But this particular interview, he's an extremely libertarian thinker, and this interview I did with him is called Creative Entrepreneurship. My goal in terms of interviewing him was to present the idea that art is entrepreneurship, how artists get their word out is entrepreneurship, and I wanted to see if I could kind of poke into his mind a little bit and get an idea of what he felt, because he's actually a very smart, very intelligent man. He's big on the he's has Asperger's, I believe, and he's been talking a lot about that for National Autism Month, and he's very, very intelligent man. And I ran across him in one of the poetry groups, and he lives here in Texas, and I contacted him via Facebook, and then I sent him an email because I had his email in my stuff from a poem. I published a couple of his poems in one of our early editions, and he has a lot of really good things to say about how art by its own nature is a form of entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship is taking risks. You don't know what you're going to get out of a particular endeavor. You're going to kind of just jump into it with calculated reason, and he has this thing in here where he talks about the 2 different kinds of entrepreneurs. He says the Schumpeterian entrepreneur and the Kurznian entrepreneur. And these 2 different varieties. One he says is a disruptive force, and that's the kind of guy that would create something that come up with a completely new idea that no one had ever really thought about. And that's why he says it's a disruptive force, because it sets the market towards a different direction. And he said the key here, and this is a quote, "The way to become this kind of entrepreneur is to learn a lot about your field of interest so that you can find what hasn't been invented." And that's one of the things and then he moves into the Kurzner. Kurzner's entrepreneur is one that sees what's missing in the market, and he goes into kind of some examples, and I think I'll leave that to the reader what they get out of it. But basically, my thing has always been is an artist looks for the missing element in art, and art always breaks boundaries, pushes limits. The Dadaist artist, for instance, they saw sort of something lacking, and that there was a condition presented at the time of the war atmosphere, and they kind of had to make up for some of the missing elements in art, and that's what they were best known for. It's presenting an entirely new outlook, an entirely new variety of art, because every so many years, it's like, you kind of get a stalemate with art. If you just keep rehashing the same stuff, people are not going to pay attention. And so art in its very nature is an entrepreneurial activity. And plus you have to find ways to spread that. So that's kind of what we're doing here with the Troy Camplin interview. And it's a very lengthy as well as a very educational interview.
Definitely. So, just recently, TZ Press had the honor and the privilege to come across Miss Usha Akella, a very accomplished international poet. Please tell us a little bit what we're doing with her book that is coming out, The Rosary of Latitudes.
The Rosary of Latitudes is part travelogue and part poems about her specific places. She's been all over, including from Istanbul, Turkey, to Macedonia, to Nicaragua. She's also shared time and space with Anne Waldman, as well as Gioconda Belli, who's a very famous Sandinista poet. She shared the stage with her. And, the list goes on and on about what kind of things she's experienced. And she's very well known in India as well, from where she's lived. She's actually, the introduction will be by a very famous Indian poet and also novelist, I believe. And I can't remember his name right off the top of my head or how to pronounce it, but he's very well respected. She described him as like the Billy Collins of India, and
Anzi, something or other.
No, it's Kiki something or other.
Oh,
I don't remember the last name. But this book is approximately 200 pages. It's going to be roughly somewhere between $20 to $25, depending on how much we've had to put into the production. And it's going to be a very good book with photos that she has included in the and she has some descriptives, all these poetry festivals she's attended, and the general spirit she's seen within the places she's been and travels. And it's very interesting how she's kind of seen some of the same changes in the world taking place now that I've seen, where she said she went back to India for brief travel recently, and there was a very cliquish kind of atmosphere in the poetry scene. And I said, I'm kind of seeing a lot of that as well, where people go to the specific reading and they all kind of communicate, and it's kind of cliquish. And a lot of that's taking place all around. People are getting more tightly knit and their own kind of comfortable zone. And to me, poetry should be welcoming. It should be very much, we've got a newcomer. Let's make this person feel very welcome and get them to read their poems. You never know who you're going to be dealing with. This person may very well be brilliant and just never got out in the open. But we will be publishing that book hopefully midsummer. Somewhere in July, I think, or July or August at the latest, and we're working with doing the revisions right now, and we will have that. Keeping in mind, we'll keep that on the www.transcendentzeropress.org. All you have to do is look on our thing and find where it's announced, and we'll keep everybody in the loop about the process for that book on that site.
Okay. Dustin, I think a certain congratulations are finally in order after many times submitting. You finally got into Diversity, which is the anthology for the Austin International Poetry Festival, which is where we are at currently. This is a hotel room. We are in Austin. And Dustin, I would love if you read your poem that was accepted. And it wasn't the poem you were expecting. That was the thing.
This is the Diversity 2015 anthology. They say they get at least 600 poems submitted per year, and of those 600, they may choose 200, I think they said. And my poem, Looking Back, was accepted. And I was expecting of the poems, when they informed me one of my poems had been accepted, I thought it would be The Wisest Distance, which is my dedication poem to my friend Amber, very love-oriented poem, and I wrote those to her in a text, and I took all those texts and I put them and made them into a poem. But Mark Wendell told me today that they just generally don't accept love poems, no matter how good they are. But this poem is a very I'm not even sure how to classify it. I
don't know. Honestly, when I read it, I saw it as more of this dark gothic sort of Tom Waits-ish piece, sort of walking into the street lights or at night, sort of thing. You're trying to find a guiding light. That's sort of what I got out of that.
Yeah, I think this is almost like a borderline surreal, nightmarish kind of poem.
Yeah, like if you combined like the nightmarish element and maybe like some abstract avant-garde elements in that.
Right, I generally do an avant-garde style, and a lot of the stuff I've noticed that it's in diversity is very, it's either kind of a nature or kind of commonsensical, I guess you could say. A lot of it's not very, I guess I call it broad stroke poetry. It's a very tight, specific style of poetry that they generally publish, and this poem I think broke with a lot of that kind of stuff, but it was accepted. It's called "Looking Back."
Take it away.
When lost, I had a vision in the cold December morning. The path had grown deeper than the height of angels. Again I wept with the doll in my lost hands. I looked in the store windows and saw only fear and desolation. No more heart. Look for the rival flicker of a phantom candle. I dreamed the white abyss. Nothing looks back.
That was Dustin D. Pickering reading from the Diversity 2015 edition of Austin International Poetry Festival's anthology. And this has been another interview brought to you by Transcendent Zero Press. Please visit us at www.transcendentzeropress.org. And please look at us on Amazon as well, where you can find copies of our 16 authors, Dustin and myself included, as well as the journal that we publish quarterly called Harbinger Asylum. Thank you very much. Poetry lives.